For thousands of years, humanity has sought answers to one of life's greatest mysteries. What happens when we die? This question isn't just a philosophical or religious curiosity. It stems from a deep, primal fear of our own mortality. But the answers don't always lie in the future or in modern research. Often, the most profound insights can be found buried in the ancient wisdom of civilizations that observed, experienced, and recorded death not merely as an end but as a doorway to another state of being. With over 2 decades of research into ancient civilizations and their spiritual philosophies, I have delved into sacred texts, myths, and lesser-known teachings to uncover how ancient knowledge aligns with the near-death experiences, NDEs, we hear about today. While ancient cultures didn't use the term near-death experience, their descriptions of death and the afterlife provide a stunning parallel to modern accounts, revealing a bridge between the material and spiritual worlds. If you believe that near-death experiences are a concept born of 20th century science or anecdotal stories, let me take you back in time. On the walls of ancient Egyptian tombs, within the sacred verses of the Vedic scriptures, and even in the philosophical dialogues of ancient Greece, we find descriptions strikingly similar to today's NDE accounts. These records are not mere allegories. They are the products of observation, introspection, and sometimes first-hand experiences passed down through generations. In the Book of the Dead from ancient Egypt, souls are described as leaving the body, facing trials, and journeying through an entirely different realm. They encounter dazzling lights, divine entities, and ultimately face judgment to determine their fate. Sound familiar? This narrative closely mirrors the stories of those who have survived clinical death today, reporting encounters with light, spiritual beings, and an overwhelming sense of peace. In India, the Vedic texts and Upanishads describe the state between life and death as an opportunity for the soul, Atman, to merge with the ultimate reality, Brahman, the light at the end of the tunnel. So frequently recounted in modern NDEs, could be interpreted as the soul approaching this infinite divine presence. Similarly, the Tibetan Buddhist text Bardo Thodol, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, explains the intermediate states a soul traverses after death, which remarkably echo the feelings of weightlessness, timelessness, and encounters with guiding figures that NDE survivors describe. Allow me to share an intriguing example from ancient Greek philosophy. Plato, in his work The Republic, recounts the story of Aer, a Greek warrior who was killed in battle. When his soul left his body, Aer witnessed another world where souls were judged and assigned their next path, either returning to Earth or continuing their journey elsewhere. Astonishingly, Aer did not remain dead. His body was revived, and he shared his extraordinary experience. This narrative is one of the earliest recorded accounts of what we now call a near-death experience. But near-death experiences aren't limited to Greek civilization. In the East, such experiences were often wrapped in layers of philosophy and spirituality. In Buddhist traditions, there are stories of monks who crossed the threshold of life and death, returning with profound wisdom and a heightened awareness of life's impermanence. What astonishes me most is the striking resemblance between ancient accounts and modern descriptions. When researchers today interview individuals who have experienced NDEs, common elements emerge: encounters with a radiant, otherworldly light, a sensation of leaving the body, out-of-body experience, meetings with deceased loved ones or transcendent beings, a profound sense of peace and understanding beyond words. These descriptions align so closely with ancient teachings that it's impossible to dismiss the connection. Could it be that near-death experiences are not merely psychological or biological phenomena, but rather a glimpse into a spiritual reality that ancient civilizations were already attuned to? For the ancient Egyptians, the light seen in NDEs might represent the divine essence encountered in the afterlife. For Tibetan Buddhists, the intermediate state of Bardo offers a map for the soul's journey after death. And for Indian mystics, the light is the merging of the individual soul with the cosmic infinite. To ancient civilizations, near-death experiences were not just fascinating phenomena. They were keys to understanding the purpose of life. These experiences were used as tools to teach morality, to emphasize the importance of preparing for death, and to explore the transcendence of the soul. Today, as modern medicine and science have advanced, we've saved countless lives of people who have walked the fine line between life and death. But the bigger question remains: what can we learn from their experiences? And how can we connect the ancient knowledge of the past with the understanding of today to uncover the deeper truths about life, death, and what lies beyond? As we embark on this journey to explore near-death experiences through the lens of ancient wisdom, I invite you to step into a realm that is both mystical and deeply human, a space where every civilization, no matter the era, has left its mark in understanding the cycle of life, death, and what transcends them both. Let us allow the light of ancient knowledge to illuminate our path forward. As a researcher who has spent decades exploring the crossroads of ancient wisdom and spiritual phenomena, I am continually struck by the depth of insight ancient civilizations possessed about what we now term near-death experiences, NDEs. These aren't just modern occurrences that began with the advent of advanced medicine. They are echoes of human experiences recorded, revered, and analyzed by ancient societies across the globe. Their understanding of life, death, and the spaces in between reflects a profound awareness of existence that transcends time. The Egyptians, arguably the most meticulous chroniclers of death in the ancient world, viewed the transition from life to death as a sacred journey, meticulously documented in texts such as the Book of the Dead. This collection of prayers, spells, and instructions served as a guide for the soul, or Ka, as it navigated the challenges of the afterlife. In these texts, the imagery is remarkably similar to what modern NDE accounts describe. The soul would leave the body and travel through various realms, encountering deities and witnessing a radiant light. The ultimate goal was to reach the field of reeds, paradisiacal realm. But first, the soul faced judgment by Osiris, the god of the dead. Here, the heart was weighed against the feather of Ma'at, the symbol of truth and balance. This idea of a journey filled with trials, encounters with divine entities, and the eventual arrival at a place of peace parallels the stories shared by those who have experienced near-death states. Many modern NDE survivors recount moving through a tunnel, encountering a being of light, and reviewing their lives, a process that resonates with the Egyptian concept of weighing one's deeds to determine their worthiness. What makes the Egyptian perspective even more fascinating is their emphasis on preparation. Every ritual, every funerary custom, was designed to equip the individual for this transition. Could it be that they understood near-death experiences not as anomalies but as glimpses into the soul's destined journey? Turning to the Indian subcontinent, the ancient Vedic texts and the Upanishads offer a different, yet equally profound, perspective on near-death experiences. The Vedic worldview sees life and death as part of an eternal cycle. Samsara, where the soul, Atman, is bound by karma but yearns to reunite with the ultimate reality, Brahman. One of the most striking aspects of NDEs reported in modern times is the encounter with a divine light, often described as loving, all-encompassing, and transcendent. In the Vedic texts, this light is interpreted as Brahman itself, the infinite source of all creation. The Katha Upanishad, for instance, speaks of the soul's journey after death, where it encounters different states of consciousness and, ultimately, has the opportunity to merge with Brahman. In many NDE accounts, individuals report a sense of timelessness and unity, feelings that align with the Vedic description of achieving moksha, liberation. Interestingly, some individuals describe being told that it is not yet their time and being sent back to their physical bodies, an idea that resonates with the concept of the soul's unfinished karmic duties in the physical realm. The Vedic tradition doesn't see these experiences as extraordinary but as natural steps in the cosmic order. Could it be that ancient sages, through meditation and spiritual practices, intentionally accessed these states of near-death to glimpse the higher truths of existence? In Tibetan Buddhism, the Bardo Thodol, commonly known in the West as the Tibetan Book of the Dead, provides one of the most detailed accounts of what happens to consciousness after death. Bardo refers to the intermediate state between death and rebirth, and the text serves as both a guide for the departed soul and a manual for the living to understand the transient nature of life. The parallels between the experiences described in Bardo Thodol and modern NDE accounts are striking. The soul, after leaving the body, enters a state of disorientation, often encountering vivid lights and powerful entities. These encounters are described as projections of the mind, yet they feel profoundly real to the experiencer. One of the most compelling similarities is the role of compassion and guidance. In Tibetan Buddhism, the dying person is often surrounded by monks or family members who chant prayers to guide the soul through the bardas. Similarly, many NDE survivors report feeling guided by a loving presence, sometimes interpreted as a deceased loved one or a divine being. The ultimate teaching of the Bardo Thodol is that recognizing the illusory nature of these experiences can lead to liberation. This mirrors the transformative effect NDEs have on many survivors, who often return to life with a renewed sense of purpose, compassion, and fearlessness in the face of death. In the Western tradition, the Greeks were among the earliest thinkers to philosophize about life and death in a systematic way. Plato, in particular, offers one of the most compelling ancient accounts of a near-death experience in his story of Air, a soldier who was believed to have died in battle but returned to life to recount his journey. Air described leaving his body and witnessing a celestial realm where souls were judged and directed to their next phase of existence. Some were sent to realms of reward, others to realms of punishment, and some were reincarnated on Earth. He also described a place of light and the overwhelming sense of peace that came with it, elements that are uncannily similar to modern NDE reports. What is fascinating about Plato's account is its focus on moral and ethical implications. The experiences of the afterlife, as described by Air, were meant to serve as a lesson for the living, to live virtuously and in harmony with the divine order. This ethical emphasis resonates with the life reviews reported in many NDEs, where individuals are shown the impact of their actions on others and are encouraged to live with greater compassion and integrity. Despite the cultural and temporal differences, several themes emerge consistently across these ancient traditions. The presence of light, whether it is the divine radiance of Brahman, the guiding light of Osiris, or the celestial glow described by Plato, light plays a central role in these experiences. The journey of the soul. All traditions describe a transitional phase where the soul leaves the body, encounters otherworldly realms, and gains insight into its purpose. The role of judgment or reflection, whether it's the weighing of the heart in Egyptian mythology, the review of karma in the Vedic tradition, or the moral reckoning in Greek philosophy, there is always an element of self-reflection and accountability. The opportunity for transformation. Near-death experiences, both ancient and modern, often lead to profound personal transformation, inspiring individuals to live more meaningful and ethical lives. As I reflect on the wisdom of these ancient traditions, it becomes clear that near-death experiences are not random or isolated phenomena. They are part of a universal human journey, one that transcends cultural boundaries and speaks to the core of our shared existence. The ancients understood something profound, that the moments between life and death are not just transitions but opportunities for awakening. They saw the afterlife not as a distant realm but as an integral part of the human experience, woven into the fabric of life itself. Could it be that these experiences, so vividly recounted by the ancients and mirrored in modern accounts, are the keys to understanding not just what lies beyond, but how we should live here and now? As we continue this exploration, let us carry with us the timeless wisdom of those who came before, allowing their insights to guide our journey into the unknown. This perspective on near-death experiences through the lens of ancient civilizations not only enriches our understanding of the phenomenon, but also invites us to look at life, death, and the mysteries of existence with greater depth and reverence. As we continue our exploration into the profound parallels between ancient traditions and modern near-death experiences, NDEs, it becomes increasingly evident that these occurrences are not bound by time or culture. They seem to represent a universal human phenomenon, a bridge between the physical and the metaphysical. In my years of research into ancient knowledge, I've come to see that the accounts recorded thousands of years ago and the testimonies of those who've experienced NDEs today share strikingly similar themes. It is as if these experiences are a timeless thread, weaving humanity together through an understanding of life, death, and what lies beyond. One of the most striking elements of NDEs, both ancient and modern, is the encounter with a radiant, all-encompassing light. Modern accounts often describe this light as intensely bright yet gentle, evoking feelings of unconditional love and peace. Similarly, ancient texts consistently place light at the center of their narratives about the afterlife or spiritual transitions. In Egyptian mythology, the soul's journey is illuminated by the sun god Ra, whose light guides the deceased through the underworld. The Book of the Dead describes the light not merely as a physical entity but as a manifestation of divine presence, a force of purification and truth. This closely mirrors how NDE survivors describe the light as not just a visual experience but a profound spiritual connection. In the Vedic tradition, the light represents Brahman, the ultimate reality. The Chandogya Upanishad speaks of a divine spark that leads the soul toward liberation, much like the tunnel of light that modern survivors describe. For Tibetan Buddhists, the Bardo Thodol teaches that the soul encounters a clear light immediately after death. Recognizing this light is essential for achieving liberation. Much as those who've undergone NDEs often report feeling enlightened or spiritually transformed upon their return. Another fascinating overlap between ancient traditions and modern NDEs is the concept of a life review. Many NDE survivors recount vivid, panoramic reviews of their lives, often from a detached, observational perspective. They feel the emotions they caused in others, whether joy, pain, or indifference, and are left with a deep understanding of the interconnectedness of their actions. This idea resonates deeply with ancient teachings about judgment and moral accountability. In Egyptian mythology, the weighing of the heart ceremony before Osiris represents a literal and symbolic review of one's life. The heart, considered the seat of conscience, is weighed against the feather of Ma'at, the goddess of truth and justice. Only a heart unburdened by guilt or imbalance could pass into eternal peace. Similarly, Greek philosophy, as exemplified by Plato's story of Air, speaks of souls being judged and reflecting on their lives before choosing their next path. This emphasis on accountability, on the effects of our choices and behaviors, appears in countless traditions and aligns closely with the moral clarity that many NDE survivors report after their experiences. The sensation of leaving one's body is another hallmark of NDEs. Modern survivors often describe floating above their physical form, observing medical personnel or loved ones from a detached vantage point. This experience of duality, the separation of consciousness from the body, is not a new idea. In ancient Egyptian funerary texts, the Ka, spiritual essence, is said to leave the body upon death, often depicted as a bird hovering above the corpse. This imagery underscores the belief that consciousness exists independently of the physical form. In Vedic teachings, the concept of Atman emphasizes that the soul is eternal and distinct from the body. The Bhagavad Gita likens the soul to a person changing clothes, shedding the old and donning the new. Similarly, Tibetan Buddhist practices, such as Phawa, the transference of consciousness, teach that the mind or soul can be guided out of the body, supporting the belief that the self is not confined to the physical vessel. These ancient ideas closely mirror the modern NDE accounts of individuals who describe not only leaving their bodies but also gaining a heightened sense of awareness. Often accompanied by profound spiritual insights, many NDE survivors describe meeting otherworldly beings during their experiences. These entities are often perceived as guides, protectors, or messengers, radiating love and wisdom. In ancient traditions, similar encounters are depicted as interactions with gods, ancestors, or enlightened beings. In the Book of the Dead, the soul meets deities like Osiris and Anubis, who guide and judge it on its journey. These encounters are not merely transactional but deeply transformative, as the soul gains insights about its place in the cosmic order. In the Vedic and Buddhist traditions, guides take the form of bodhisattvas, spiritual teachers, or deities who assist the soul in navigating the afterlife or achieving enlightenment. Modern NDE survivors often describe these beings in less religious terms, but the essence remains the same. They are entities of immense compassion and wisdom, helping the experiencer understand their journey. One of the most remarkable aspects of NDEs, whether ancient or modern, is the transformative impact they have on those who experience them. Individuals often return with a profound sense of purpose, a diminished fear of death, and a renewed commitment to living ethically and compassionately. In ancient cultures, this transformation was often institutionalized through rituals and teachings. The Egyptians prepared their people for death with detailed instructions on how to live virtuously and honor the gods. The Greeks, through Plato's philosophical dialogues, emphasized living in harmony with the divine in order to achieve a better existence in the afterlife. Modern NDE survivors echo these sentiments. Many report a newfound understanding of love and interconnectedness, leading them to prioritize relationships, kindness, and personal growth. This shift in perspective aligns with ancient teachings, which often viewed death not as an end but as a teacher, a mirror reflecting the true nature of life. What do these parallels tell us? As someone who has studied both ancient wisdom and contemporary experiences, I believe they reveal a profound truth. Near-death experiences are not anomalies or mere accidents of biology. They are part of a larger, universal narrative about what it means to exist. The ancients understood this intuitively. They built systems of belief and practice that acknowledged the continuity of life beyond death, preparing individuals for the transitions they would inevitably face. Modern NDEs, with their vivid imagery and transformative effects, seem to affirm what these ancient cultures knew all along, that the boundaries between life, death, and what lies beyond are far thinner than we often believe. As we examine these connections, it becomes clear that near-death experiences are not just personal phenomena, but profound spiritual awakenings that have been part of the human story for millennia. Whether viewed through the lens of Egyptian rituals, Vedic scriptures, Tibetan practices, or Greek philosophy, they reveal a consistent message. Life and death are not opposites but intertwined aspects of a greater whole. In understanding this, we not only deepen our appreciation for ancient wisdom but also gain new perspectives on how to live fully and meaningfully in the present. The insights from near-death experiences, both ancient and modern, remind us that life's greatest mystery is not to be feared but embraced as part of the eternal journey of the soul. As we have seen in our exploration so far, the remarkable parallels between ancient wisdom and modern near-death experiences, NDEs, point to something much greater than isolated accounts of individuals stepping to the edge of life. They reveal a profound, universal truth about existence, one that offers lessons not only for the afterlife but also for how we live in the here and now. Having studied the teachings of ancient civilizations alongside the transformative effects of NDEs, I believe these experiences are far more than phenomena to be analyzed. They are invitations to awaken, to live with purpose, and to realign ourselves with the spiritual principles that govern life itself. In this final section, we will explore how the insights from NDEs, viewed through the lens of ancient knowledge, can inspire personal transformation, deepen our understanding of spirituality, and guide us toward living more meaningful lives. One of the most compelling aspects of NDEs is their ability to shift the experiencer's worldview in profound and often unexpected ways. Ancient cultures understood that experiences at the boundary between life and death were not random or meaningless. They were opportunities for deep spiritual awakening. Let us explore some of the most universal spiritual lessons that emerge from both ancient wisdom and modern NDE accounts. Many NDE survivors describe a profound sense of oneness, a realization that all living beings are deeply interconnected. This is often accompanied by an overwhelming feeling of love and unity. transcending individual identity. In ancient teachings, this interconnectedness was a foundational truth. The Vedic tradition speaks of Brahman as the ultimate reality, within which all beings exist as parts of a unified whole. The Upanishads frequently remind us that Atman, the individual soul, is not separate from Brahman, but a reflection of it. Similarly, in Buddhist philosophy, the principle of dependent origination teaches that all things arise in connection with one another, emphasizing the illusion of separateness. Modern NDEs often echo this understanding. Survivors report feeling part of an eternal, interconnected web of existence. They return with a renewed sense of responsibility toward others, recognizing that their actions, thoughts, and words ripple outward in ways they may not have previously understood. Another recurring theme in NDEs is the centrality of love. Many experiencers describe encounters with an all-encompassing love, often radiating from a divine presence or light. This love is described as unconditional, transcendent, and more real than anything they have known in the material world. Ancient wisdom, too, emphasizes the transformative power of love and compassion. In Buddhist teachings, metta, loving kindness, is considered one of the most essential virtues, a practice that leads not only to personal liberation but to the alleviation of suffering for all beings. The Christian tradition, deeply rooted in ancient teachings, centers on agape, divine, selfless love as the highest spiritual ideal. For those who experience NDEs, this direct encounter with love often transforms their priorities. They return with a heightened awareness of the importance of kindness, forgiveness, and relationships, often seeking to embody these values in their daily lives. This mirrors the teachings of ancient traditions, which often view love as the bridge between the human and the divine. One of the most profound insights that arises from NDEs is the realization that death is not to be feared. Many survivors report experiencing death not as an ending, but as a transition, a doorway to a new state of being. This understanding often dissolves their fear of mortality and allows them to live with greater courage and authenticity. The impermanence of life is a central theme in many ancient philosophies. In Buddhism, the concept of anicca, impermanence, teaches that all things are transient, and clinging to permanence is the root of suffering. The Stoic philosophers of ancient Greece and Rome also emphasized the importance of accepting death as a natural part of life, using it as a lens through which to focus on what truly matters. For those who have faced death and returned, this shift in perspective can lead to profound personal growth. By embracing the reality of impermanence, they often develop a newfound appreciation for the present moment, choosing to live fully rather than fearfully. While the spiritual lessons of NDEs are transformative, they also have deeply practical applications. Ancient wisdom and modern NDE accounts converge on principles that can guide us in leading more meaningful, ethical, and fulfilling lives. One of the most significant changes reported by NDE survivors is a heightened sense of mindfulness, a deeper awareness of the present moment and the beauty of life. This mirrors the teachings of ancient traditions, which often emphasize mindfulness as a spiritual practice. For example, Buddhist meditation practices cultivate awareness of breath, sensations, and thoughts, encouraging practitioners to live fully in the present. Similarly, the Stoics taught memento mori, remember you will die, as a reminder to focus on the present and to act in alignment with one's values. Incorporating mindfulness into daily life can help us prioritize what truly matters, reducing stress and enhancing our ability to connect with others and the world around us. The life review experienced by many NDE survivors often brings a newfound clarity about the impact of their actions. They return with a strong desire to live in alignment with their values, to act with integrity, and to create positive ripples in the lives of others. This is a principle deeply rooted in ancient teachings. The Egyptian concept of ma'at, truth, balance, and justice guided individuals to live virtuously in harmony with the divine order. Similarly, the Vedic principle of dharma emphasizes living in accordance with one's higher purpose. By reflecting on how our actions align with our deepest values, we can create lives of greater authenticity and fulfillment. Both ancient teachings and modern NDE accounts highlight the importance of relationships. Many survivors of NDEs return with a renewed commitment to healing fractured relationships, showing kindness to strangers, and prioritizing connections over material pursuits. In ancient traditions, the emphasis on community and interdependence is a recurring theme. For instance, Confucianism teaches that harmonious relationships are the foundation of a virtuous life, while Buddhist teachings on karuna, compassion, encourage us to see the suffering of others as interconnected with our own. Fostering compassion and empathy in our relationships not only enhances our own well-being, but also contributes to a more peaceful and harmonious world. As a researcher deeply invested in the study of ancient knowledge, I am continually amazed by how these timeless teachings align with the insights of modern NDEs. Far from being relics of the past, the spiritual principles embedded in ancient traditions remain profoundly relevant today. When we look at NDEs through the lens of ancient wisdom, we see a continuity of understanding that transcends cultures and eras. The Egyptians, the Vedic sages, the Buddhists, and the Greeks all recognized that the boundary between life and death is not a chasm but a bridge, a space where profound truths can be revealed. Modern NDE survivors, often unknowingly, echo these truths in their descriptions and transformations. By integrating these ancient insights with contemporary understanding, we can create a more holistic view of life, death, and the eternal journey of the soul. In this exploration of near-death experiences, both ancient and modern, one message rings clear: life is a sacred opportunity. Whether viewed through the lens of Egyptian mythology, Vedic philosophy, or the transformative stories of modern NDE survivors, we are reminded that each moment offers a chance to connect, to love, and to grow. Death, far from being an end, is a teacher, a profound reminder of the impermanence of life and the eternal nature of the soul. When we embrace this perspective, we can live more fully, love more deeply, and approach the mystery of existence with awe and gratitude. As we continue to learn from the timeless wisdom of the past and the extraordinary experiences of the present, may we carry these lessons into our lives, creating a legacy of compassion, mindfulness, and purpose that will endure far beyond our physical forms. Throughout this exploration of near-death experiences, NDEs, through the lens of ancient knowledge, we've uncovered a profound and universal narrative, one that transcends time, culture, and geography. From the meticulously documented afterlife journeys of ancient Egypt to the spiritual insights of the Vedic sages, the luminous teachings of Tibetan Buddhism, and the philosophical reflections of the Greeks, one thing becomes clear: NDEs are not just modern phenomena. They are timeless messages, echoing across the ages, reminding humanity of the sacred interconnectedness of life, death, and what lies beyond. As a researcher who has spent years immersed in the study of ancient wisdom, I have come to believe that NDEs represent far more than fleeting glimpses into another realm. They are opportunities for profound transformation, both for those who experience them directly and for those of us who listen, learn, and reflect upon their stories. These experiences serve as bridges between ancient teachings and modern insights, showing us how deeply interconnected our spiritual truths truly are. In exploring the parallels between ancient and modern accounts of near-death experiences, several recurring themes emerge, each offering a profound spiritual lesson. These themes: light, love, interconnectedness, impermanence, and transformation, invite us to consider how we live, how we love, and how we approach the great mystery of existence. Light as a universal symbol of truth and divinity. From the radiant glow of Brahman in the Vedic texts to the guiding light of Osiris in Egyptian mythology, light has always been a symbol of spiritual truth. Modern NDE accounts, too, describe a luminous presence that transcends all understanding, a light that is both deeply personal and universally divine. This universal imagery reminds us that there is something eternal within us, a spark of the infinite that connects us to the greater cosmos. Recognizing this light within ourselves and others can guide us to live with greater purpose, compassion, and clarity, love and the power of connection. The transformative power of love, so often described in NDEs, is a central teaching in almost every spiritual tradition. Ancient texts emphasize the importance of compassion, kindness, and empathy as pathways to enlightenment and liberation. Modern NDE survivors often return with a renewed understanding of love, dedicating their lives to mending relationships, helping others, and spreading kindness. These lessons are timeless. They remind us that in a world often divided by fear, anger, or misunderstanding, love remains the one constant capable of bridging all divides, the interconnectedness of all beings, whether through the Vedic principle of Brahman, the Buddhist concept of dependent origination, or the life reviews described by NDE survivors. One truth emerges: we are all connected. Our actions, thoughts, and intentions ripple outward, affecting the lives of others in ways we may never fully comprehend. This understanding calls us to live more mindfully, recognizing that every choice we make carries weight, not just for ourselves but for the world around us. The fearlessness of death. Perhaps the most profound lesson of NDEs and ancient teachings alike is that death is not an end, but a transition. For the Egyptians, it was a journey to the field of reeds. For the Vedic sages, it was a return to Brahman. For modern NDE survivors, it is often described as a doorway to a higher plane of existence. This perspective invites us to live with courage, free from the paralyzing fear of mortality. When we accept the impermanence of life, we can embrace the present moment with greater authenticity and joy. While NDEs offer profound insights, their true value lies in their ability to inspire change. Ancient wisdom, too, was never meant to be passive knowledge. It was always a call to action, a guide for living. As we reflect on these teachings and experiences, we are invited to apply their lessons to our own lives. Cultivate gratitude. Many NDE survivors return with a heightened sense of gratitude for life's simplest moments: a sunrise, a kind word, the warmth of connection. Ancient teachings also emphasize the importance of gratitude as a spiritual practice. By cultivating a daily habit of gratitude, we can deepen our appreciation for the present and find joy in the ordinary. Live with intention. Both ancient philosophies and NDE accounts stress the importance of aligning our actions with our values. Whether through the Egyptian concept of Ma'at, the Vedic principle of Dharma, or the moral clarity gained from a life review, the message is clear: live intentionally, with kindness, integrity, and purpose. Embrace the mystery. Life, death, and the realms beyond are mysteries we may never fully understand. But as the ancients knew, embracing this mystery with awe and humility can lead to spiritual growth. Modern NDEs often bring back a sense of wonder, a recognition that the universe is far more expansive and interconnected than we imagine. Let us approach this mystery not with fear, but with curiosity and reverence, trusting that life's greatest truths often lie beyond our immediate comprehension. As I reflect on the years I have spent studying these profound intersections between ancient wisdom and near-death experiences, I am struck by the timelessness of these lessons. They speak to a universal longing within us all to understand who we are, why we are here, and what awaits us beyond the veil. For me, this journey has been deeply humbling. The wisdom of the ancients and the testimonies of modern experiencers remind me that while we may approach these questions from different angles, through science, spirituality, or personal reflection, we are all seekers, walking the same path toward truth and enlightenment. As we conclude this exploration, I want to thank you for joining me on this journey. Whether you are a curious observer, a spiritual seeker, or someone who has experienced the profound mystery of near-death yourself, I hope these insights have sparked something within you, a sense of wonder, a desire for deeper understanding, or simply a renewed appreciation for the beauty of life. Near-death experiences remind us that life is precious, fleeting, and interconnected with a reality far greater than ourselves. They urge us to live with love, purpose, and gratitude, to cherish the moments we have, and to prepare our hearts for the eternal journey ahead. If these themes resonate with you, I invite you to continue exploring with me. Together, we can delve deeper into the wisdom of the ancients, uncover the lessons of the present, and navigate the mysteries of existence with open minds and open hearts. Thank you for allowing me to share this with you. May you find peace, purpose, and connection in your own journey, and may the light of ancient wisdom guide you always. With gratitude and reverence, your fellow seeker of ancient knowledge.